I think about what advice I can give high school kids that's trying to get to the next level, and the advice that I give my kids, man, coaching here, you got to be able to separate yourself. I think high school, well, not think, I know high school kids are faced with different challenges and different obstacles than it was in the early 2000s and mid 2000s. The transfer portal is like one of the biggest, one of the biggest challenges, man, that high school kids gotta face, man, and the NCAA rules and whatnot, man, that's changing now. So, but when you think about it, man, yes, they're faced with a lot of challenges and they're faced with some different obstacles with the transfer portal and whatnot, but college coaches, man, their mindset now with the transfer portal is, if I can get a kid out of the transfer portal that's already mature, that's already bigger, faster, stronger, that already has some kind of experience, 9 times out of 10, or 10 out of 10, that kid is already ready to play. He already played either a year or two or a couple of college games. So now you don't have to worry about actually getting a high school kid that's not mature, that doesn't have the full work ethic, may pass the eye test as being 6'5", 6'7", but you got to develop him. You don't know if he's going to be able to get up and down the floor, if he's going to, or she. You don't know what the work ethic is like, man, and how much they invested in themselves. So the transfer portal is a microwave type player, instant gratification. Now, what I would say to the high school guys is, if the next level is what you're trying to reach, you already know what's in the transfer portal. You already know how college coaches are, how they view college, or how they view the transfer portal, how they view high school kids when they compare. You got to have next level training, next level mindset. The way you live got to be next level. You can't expect to make it to the next level if coaches got to force you to get inside of the gym, if they got to force you to do what you're supposed to do in the classroom, if they got to force you to work out, lifting weights or whatnot. College coaches don't have to do that no more, because now, again, they got the transfer portal. They got rules that's giving guys extra years. So you got to be able to separate yourself. You got to be able to show college coaches why you deserve to be on the next level. And I saw on X the other day, a college coach said something perfectly fine. She said, as a women's coach, but she recruits freshmen, which is good, which is great to hear. But then her next statement was that freshman has to come in ready to work, like ready to play, as she said. And it made sense, because the things that kids and coming out of high school face, like, why won't you be that freshman ready to come in? I think the only thing that may hinder freshmen ready to come in and play on a collegiate level is one or two things: is speed, the pace of the game, which can change depending on the level of college that girl or that male is going to, because a lot of kids that's recruited to high D1 level colleges and university, they leave early. So they're not spending their summers here and leave in August before a couple of days of the class. Physicality, again, they leaving early so they can get that summer sessions of working out and things and whatnot. So if coaches gotta prepare you in that aspect, man, why not work on it now? Why not do it now in high school, so that can be something that you have to worry less about? The pace of the game, that's going to come. That's going to develop as you continue to keep on playing with the next level or collegiate players. But college coaches want guys that's ready now, and I think high school kids got to come in, want to work, want to get better, knowing that they got all these challenges and things ahead. So when you look at high school players now, and I'm just speaking from experience, or speaking from the place where I'm at now, if coaches got to force you to get inside of the gym, if you work until you're 65 years old, man, why are we working? I get it. In some cases, families, kids got to work, but at the end of the day, how much time are you putting inside of the gym? AAU is not just good enough. Practicing 1 or 2 days for AAU, playing a numerous amount of games for the weekend, that's not enough. Practicing 1 or 2 days throughout the weekend, playing numerous games on the weekend or every other weekend, it's not enough. Like basketball is a sport, or any sport, you have to constantly and consistently work on your craft and do it at a game pace or a game speed. Because again, what you think is, you can get in the gym and shoot 1,000 shots, but you can also get in the gym and shoot 1,000 shots completely wrong. You can get in here, you can go 5 spots, go around the world, shoot 25 each spot. But if none is not game-like, if none of it's like game speed, if it's not situational stuff that you're actually developing when you're doing your drills and whatnot, you're not developing nothing. So you got to be able to know how to train. You got to be able to know how, or what are the things that you need to be working on that's going to fit your game. So you just can't go inside of the gym. I'm not saying hire a personal trainer, because I know some people are against personal trainers. I'm a basketball trainer myself, so I can speak for myself when I train my kids, or when I train the players that I had the opportunity of training. It's all game-like drills. It's all situational stuff. And it's all how that player, or it's all designed on how that player can be effective in the game. Everybody's not going to be a Steph Curry, but you got to be able to know how to get to your spot and shoot it. Like, you got to know how to do various or different types of finishes. So knowing how to train, it's an investment. So parents got to want to invest in a basketball trainer or any personal trainer to help their kid develop, especially if that parent is not doing the things that they need to deem necessary to help them on their own. But that's just investing. When it comes to the academic piece, I know academics now is a little bit different than what I was growing up. Man, a 60 was an F. Now a 60 is a D. We weren't aiming for 2.5s. We were aiming for 3.0s and 3.5s, because the higher your GPA, the more scholarship money you'll be able to get. Also, the higher your GPA, the more or the better the coach can take a good glimpse and say, okay, I don't have to worry about this kid academically, because he shows, or he's showing, or she's showing that academically they can excel in the classroom. That student-athlete piece is huge, not athlete-student, but student-athlete, because you have to do what you're supposed to do in the classroom. Now, when you go to these when you see players go to big colleges and university, and they're playing big-time games, like, you don't think that they're getting their studies in, or they're cramming in a lot of stuff. So those guys are already academically inclined to where that's the least of their worries. Performing on the court is what they worry about the most. Also, parent involvement. I said on my last podcast that I haven't uploaded yet, but I got a dad in my program. His kid, he started point guard for me, but this dad is at every home and away game with his iPad. His dad is making sure that his son is getting to and from practice. His dad, where he plays AAU out of Georgia, so he's making sure he's getting to and from practice, or AAU practice. And when they travel for AAU, he's there again with his iPad. Him and I have conversations every other day or every week, even if it's just a checkup, man, on each other, because again, that's how much involved he is in his son's life. Like, parents have to stop, like, allowing the coach to take not allowing it, let me repeat. Parents got to be involved to where they're also helping the coach make decisions that's going to benefit their child. Not just, okay, that's your situation, or that's your child during the whole season. No, go and have those conversations with that coach and ask that coach if he or she has a plan for your kid. Because at the end of the day, when that kid, when he becomes or she becomes a senior, and you're expecting, okay, coach, he's been here for 4 years, he hasn't gotten a scholarship, or do we have anybody looking at him? Not that the coach is not working, but you also got to be involved in a place or to a point to where you should be always working hand in hand with that coach, trying to get this kid to the next level, or trying to get him to this camp, or trying to make connection with that coach. But then also, to coach's defense, kids can't wait until their senior year to say they're serious about a sport. All right? It starts as a freshman, to be honest. Middle school, in some places, is serious. Middle school, where I'm at, they can enjoy the sport. But I ask the kid all the time, man, I ask the kids all the time, raise your hand if you really want to play on the next level. If they're raising their hand and saying that they want to play on the next level, then you're getting a kid that know what it takes or wants to know what it takes to get to the next level. If they don't raise their hand, then they're just out here just to be out here. Sad to say, recreational is all they're thinking about. All right. So if you can grab hold of those kids that actually want to make it to the next level, you're going to find that those kids are the ones that's going to be 15 to 20 minutes early for practice. They're going to be the ones that's always putting in the work. They're going to be fully invested. You don't have to ask them to do anything else, or you don't have to ask them to do extra because they're already doing it. They're working on the game during practice and outside of practice, and their parents are investing in them. But the ones that's not raising their hand, show up whenever they want to show up, and even if they do show up on time, they're not putting in 100%. Or I give them the benefit of the doubt. Some kids don't believe that they can actually make it, so it's up to that coach to dig deep. This is where the holistic approach comes out, because it happened to me a lot, to where a kid doesn't think that they can actually be great. So now coaches are not prying or forcing strong work ethic on them, but implementing it in a way to where they can start to see the light, or they can start to see, oh man, I'm really good at this. So it takes an experienced coach to notice that, but also an experienced coach will also know if this kid is serious about it as well. Taking a major test, the SAT, the ACT, also take the ASVAB, because you never know. College isn't for everybody, get a trade. But high school kids got to separate themselves, man, if they are trying to get to the next level, all right? You have to invest in yourself. You got to do what it takes to get there. I always say next level mindset, next level training. The way you carry yourself should be next level. Pat Kelsey, that's at Louisville, he always say elite. Elite thinking, elite the way you be elite the way you carry yourself. Be elite when you're practicing. Be elite when you're playing in the actual game. Be elite the way you think. All right, thinking elite. So I know high school kids are faced with a lot, but I think it should be in a sense to where you see the challenges, you see the big thing that you have to face, but the work ethic should just rise up some more. So you can't make excuses about this or that, man. You just got to put in the work. If you're not putting in the work, then you only get the results that you're putting in.